Hello, everyone. This is Dr. B again, also known as Dr. Madeline Boskowitz. I'm the author of I Want to Be Me, but I Don't Know Who I Am, which is a guidebook for teens and young adults. And it now also has an accompanying workbook, also by me, with the same girl, but her new friends. And she has a lot of them. In fact, friends is what we're going to be talking about in just a minute. So we're now on chapter 2, where I'm using the workbook to teach both books. And I did earlier this week cover the whole of chapter 2 fairly quickly and decided I really wanted to go back into some depth in the last part, the parts about making friendships or just regular relationships and how to behave in those relationships and what to expect from others. So this, I also discovered that this had not actually been explained in the guidebook in any detail, or not in enough detail as far as I was concerned. So I decided to write a piece that will eventually go into a second edition of the workbook. But I'm going to share it with you today, and it is about defining what makes a relationship or a friendship. And because they're not only friendships with same age friends, but relationships with aunts, uncles, parents, school teachers, so on and so on. And it's important to know what goes into a relationship and also what ruins a relationship, what makes it unpleasant, difficult, and sometimes just impossible to maintain. So you're going to be seeing my face, but I'm going to be reading from text and about what I've written. So relationships are extremely important. None of us want to live alone, but it is also very important to have good relationships. So what is it that makes a relationship good? So I started listing several aspects of behavior. One of them, the first one, is kindness. It is important to treat others kindly, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. No one wants to be treated unkindly, and we know right away when we're hurt by words or actions that are unkind. Sometimes we shut down, other times we get angry. Anyway, it's unpleasant to have a lack of kindness in a relationship. The next thing is faithfulness. We need people to be we need to be able to count on people. We need to know what to expect from them and that they will be there when you need them. We talk about fair weather friends. Those are just not there when the going gets rough. Another one, which is somewhat close but different, is loyalty. We need friends who are going to be true to us, who will have our back, who will not sell us out or betray us, or by talking trash about us to others. So loyalty, having our back and being faithful to us, it overlaps with faithfulness, is very important. Next is, is respect. We need to respect people, accept them the way they are, and they need to do the same for us, of course. Even when we want people to be different. An example is Johnny wants to play ball, but Fred doesn't feel like it. If Johnny is respectful, he will look for something else that might be agreeable to Freddie. If Freddie seems out of sorts, Johnny should look how come he doesn't want to play. Maybe something is wrong. So Johnny may be able to just hang out with him and maybe listen to him and be there as a friend. So the next one, thoughtfulness. And this is again related. Friends take their cues from each other. They recognize when the other is happy or sad, healthy or in pain. We call that empathy. Thoughtfulness is about the same. I think I will add that here. Okay. So this is very important to be able to put ourselves in other person's shoes and recognize what may be going on with them. Gratitude is also very important. It's great to show appreciation for each other and the relationship that exists between people. Um, Sometimes we express our feelings in words, in gestures, we hug. Sometimes we offer tokens of our love, maybe just a nice leaf or a pretty pebble, uh, whatever. Of course, as we get older, we offer more valuable in terms of money, but a beautiful rock or a leaf is a very significant present. It's not the actual piece, it's the offering. And last, for the good things that are needed in a relationship is generosity. Friends need to take care of each other. In the example above, which when we mentioned Freddie and Johnny, Freddie may have made the effort to play ball just to please his friend. This would be thoughtful and generous. However, it should not be done if it harms Freddie in any way. If Freddie's foot is hurting, or he has a bad cold, or he's just upset about something, it's important not to deny feelings and needs to please others, because some people will go to the other extreme and sacrifice their own needs and feelings to please others, and that is not good either. So then I proceeded to look at the behaviors that actually are harmful and interfere in relationships. And the truth is we might all engage in some of them at times, hopefully only light, not very harmful behaviors, but it's essential to remember that they cause mistrust and sometimes breakups, which are always painful. When people do engage in these negative, harmful behaviors frequently or even all the time, they become very damaging to the people involved with them. So this gets into the category of worse and worse. So I'm starting with lying. People lie to make other people do what they want them to do. We also call that manipulativeness, which I will cover later. It's dishonest to lie and disrespectful of the other person. Also, lying is often used to cover up bad deeds such as stealing or cheating, which I will cover a little bit. Denying that one, refusing to accept responsibility. Or even just something light. If you broke something that belongs to the other person, but you claim that you have no idea what happened, it has nothing to do with you, and the other person says you broke it, and you say no, and then it gets into much worse arguments, which I will go into a little bit. So manipulativeness, this includes this above lying to make others comply with us, but it also includes threats that if we want, threats that you will drop the friendship if they don't do what you want. That gets already worse. That's being manipulative or blackmailing. It's also about acting out, looking unhappy, becoming angry, or refusing to go along with the other person. Bullying is even worse. This one is familiar to most of us. There's no pretense at being a friend. The bully just wants power over others through fear of consequences. This obviously doesn't create good friendships, but bullying can be more subtle, like shunning a friend if they don't comply with a wish, avoiding them until they kind of surrender. This is part of manipulativeness, but it's also outright bullying. Cheating friends at games or about money or forgetting a promise certainly impacts a relationship very negatively. It's unkind and disrespectful and tends to destroy friendships. And it's important to recognize these negative things and not to be taken, by people. Sometimes we don't realize that they're lying or cheating or stealing from us. But it's important to have street smarts and kind of realize when such things are happening so that you can defend yourself from it. I added another one called gaslighting, which is sort of a new word. It comes from the name of a movie in which the husband was working very hard to have his wife believe that she was going crazy, and or that she was already crazy. It's not clear why he would be doing that, but it was certainly cruel. So nowadays we talk a lot about gaslighting. It means attempting to convince someone that they're wrong about their perception of what has happened. An example is when someone accuses the other person of cheating or stealing, and they're right about that, and the other person attempts to convince them that they're ridiculous or crazy. So the important piece is here to keep confidence in your own judgment, not let people kind of bulldoze you into believing what they're saying when they are gaslighting, just making you doubt yourself. It's very important. And unfortunately, this happens with a lot of adults as well as other young people. So it's important to listen to your little voice, to pay attention to how you feel about what they're saying and to stay confident. And finally, outright abuse, where people are doing it on purpose. Gaslighting is also often on purpose. Abusers use all of the above in their relationships, all of the above techniques. Of course, this makes for very unhappy, unhealthy, and destructive relationships. It's essential to get out of those relationships, whether they are in your own home, and here you need to get help as needed. And that sometimes means letting people at school know so they can get CPS, or Children's Protective Services, involved, which is difficult, but it is essential to get out of destructive relationships. And, they do happen. There are people who are angry and want to get back at others for whatever reasons. This is unfortunate because these people really need friends and help, but it can't be at your expense. So it's very important to avoid abusive people. So I hope that this helps. I'm going to come back to here. I hope that this helps, having these definitions, these terms, and I'll be ironing them out again. So in the workbook, I simply ask you, since this is actually a quick review, I ask, how do you treat your friends? How do they treat you? So friends are special. They're people you can count on. Can you count on your friends? Can they count on you? And this was faithfulness. Remember? Friends are people who have your back. Again, faithfulness. Do you have your friends' backs? Do they know that? Do you have their respect? Remember that one. They accept you the way you are. And don't try talking you into anything different. And again, it's of two ways. Do you respect your friends? Do they respect you? Friends must not be pressured into doing your bidding. That's disrespectful. Do you do that? How does it work out? Do not manipulate, remember that word, or trick your friends to get them to do what you want to do. It is disrespectful. So, and if you do that, and sometimes we all want to have our way and we push it maybe a little bit too hard. So how does it then work out? How do you handle disagreements? Do you talk about things? Do you just get mad and drop a friend? Do they do that? How do you make up after a fight with a friend? Do you betray former friends by talking trash about them? This is very important because betrayal is very negative, and people will pick up that you do that and they're not going to befriend you because they don't want to be talked trash about. So this is something that's very important in respect and faithfulness. do unto others as you would have them do unto you is important. Do not spread, do you spread rumors to get back at them when you're angry? Again, that is very important to avoid. Do you share things with others that you know you should not, that they were secrets, they were given to you as secrets and you were requested not to share and you promised, but so do you go back on your word once you're no longer friends? It's important not to. And then we have one last exercise in this chapter to look at friendships that you do have. Namely, I mentioned 3, but you may want more or less. But what are their good points? What do they do that is really good for the relationship? And what do they do that is not so good? Do they sometimes get really pushy, or they take your things without asking? Or do they, I don't know, do they kind of embarrass you in front of people? What do they do, you know? And this doesn't stop with the preteen years where I'm kind of putting this material, because this is a good time to start becoming aware. I've had many clients, young clients in my office saying, you know, she told my secret, or she told people lies about me, and now I don't have any friends. So these are very important things to 10 and 12-year-olds, and they don't get any less important as you get older. If anything, they get even more important because we all depend on others, and we don't live alone. Nobody stays alone, and we want to be able to trust people, and they want to be able to trust us. So, and this helps us to learn how to pick good friends. So how to eliminate friends who are negative and who are harmful to the relationship, and how to select good relationships where you are providing something very important for each other: the support, the presence, the friendship, the feelings. So this is very important. I hope this addendum, as I call it, has been helpful, and I again encourage you to get the workbook before it goes off. It's still on sale until the end of this month, but at this month it goes back to full price at $18.95. So it is a good time to get it before it goes back to the full price. So take care, and next week we are going to have a Q&A, a question and answer session, a live session. I'm not sure exactly which day. I will be announcing it on I Want to Be Me book, Facebook page, where this is happening, and you will get to see the announcement. It probably will be later in the week. I have commitments earlier in the week. So I look forward to talking with you soon. I hope you all come to the Q&A live session. We can talk about chapters 1 and 2, and maybe even the whole book or other questions if you have any. Remember that it's not therapy, it's not personal guidance, but it will be answering questions about how to live life. So take care. Bye-bye.